drones strike Russian $1.5 billion oil depot. Then this happened. At 5:07 a.m. on August 2nd, 2025, the silence of Samara Province, deep inside Russia, was shattered not by sirens, but by devastating news that reached the governor's desk. One of Russia's most valuable oil refineries, the Novokuibyshevsk Oil Refinery, valued at nearly $1.5 billion, had just been transformed into a blazing inferno. The culprits? Not fighter jets, not missiles, but a swarm of small, low-cost Ukrainian drones. This refinery wasn't just another industrial site. It was the beating heart of Russia's war machine. Its refined jet fuel powered Su-34 fighter bombers, attack helicopters, and armored units across the Ukrainian front lines. Without it, supply chains would falter, air raids would weaken, and Russia's war effort would feel a deep wound. Ukraine knew exactly where to strike, and they had been preparing this moment for weeks. In the dead of night, a mission code-named Silent Fangs was launched. The weapon of choice, a swarm of 15 FPV-style FP-1 attack drones, each carrying a 4.4-pound RDX-shaped charge warhead, guided by precision satellite intelligence. Their total cost was laughably small, less than $14,000, but their potential to cripple Russia's multi-billion-dollar asset was enormous. The launch. At 1:30 a.m. Kyiv time, the drones took off from an undisclosed muddy field near Zaporizhzhia. Instead of climbing to the skies, they hugged the ground at a terrifyingly low 130 feet, skimming across forests, villages, and rivers like shadows in the night. Their cruising speed? 75 miles per hour, just fast enough to evade detection, but slow enough to stay under radar coverage. This wasn't a straight flight path. Guided by near real-time U.S. satellite data and preloaded digital terrain maps, the swarm zigzagged across Russian blind spots, weaving through hills and valleys like whispers of wind. Their carbon fiber bodies absorbed radar signals, while their tiny engines emitted a heat signature barely hotter than stray dogs wandering the fields below. But even the best plans meet obstacles. Just 2 hours in, the operators saw one drone's video feed shake violently. A sudden storm, unseen on forecasts, hit the swarm. Rain pelted their fragile wings and winds battered their frames. One drone's engine sputtered and died the first casualty before even reaching enemy airspace. The swarm was down to 14 drones, but still on course, slipping past defenses. As they pressed on, a new nightmare appeared. A mobile Russian radar patrol had shifted position, directly onto their planned route. The Ukrainian lead operator had mere seconds to choose. A hard northern detour was ordered, burning precious fuel and edging dangerously close to another known defense zone. It worked. The patrol never saw them, but the cost was steep. The swarm was now limping, fuel reserves thinner than ever. And ahead of them lay Russia's pride, the S-400 air defense system, often called the most advanced shield on the planet. Inside a concrete bunker 50 feet beneath Samara soil, Senior Lieutenant Dmitry Volkov sat at his console. For months, his job had been painfully boring, guarding the refinery with an S-400 and Pantsir-S1 systems as the last line of defense. His radar screens were green, his confidence absolute. Nothing could touch this place, or so he thought. What he didn't know was that 14 ghost-like drones were already slipping into his airspace, exploiting weaknesses baked into the S-400's design. The invisible swarm. The Ukrainians had studied the S-400 for years. It was designed to shoot down jets and ballistic missiles, not small plastic-bodied drones. The FP-1s had a radar cross-section smaller than a bird flock. The S-400's software, to avoid constant false alarms, filtered out such small signatures as clutter. Second, Ukraine exploited overload tactics. The S-400 could lock on to a few fast-moving aircraft at once, but tracking 14 slow, erratic drones flying at treetop level was like forcing a chess master to play 14 games at lightning speed. The system froze in confusion, unable to prioritize targets. By 4:15 a.m., Dmitry's passive sensors picked up faint signals, tiny uplink bursts that betrayed something was in the sky. He ordered electronic warfare jammers to sweep the sector. Ukrainian operators went radio silent, cutting the feed. The drones were now navigating blind, relying only on inertial guidance systems. This led to inevitable drift. One drone veered off course, picked up by a civilian radar, and flagged on Dmitry's screen. Finally, he had a breadcrumb. Russia's trap was closing, the sacrifice. At 4:25 a.m., the Ukrainian commander faced a brutal choice: risk a short burst transmission to recalibrate the swarm or let them scatter. He chose to risk it. That micro burst of data was exactly what Russia was waiting for. A Krasuka 4 jammer blanketed the airwaves, cutting the drones off completely, For a moment, it seemed the mission was doomed. Then Ukraine revealed its ace. The lead drone activated a narrowband laser link to an American signal satellite. The beam was invisible, unjammable, and connected the swarm again. But the off-course drone was doomed. A Pantsir-S1 locked on, fired, and obliterated it mid-air. Yet even in death, the drone served a purpose. Its operator lit up every transmitter, becoming an electronic decoy. Russian sensors locked onto the wrong target, their defenses distracted. The remaining 13 drones slipped through undetected, the strike. At 4:52 a.m., the refinery came into view on Ukrainian operators' screens, a sprawling maze of pipes, towers, and glowing furnaces. The primary target was clear, the AVT-11 distillation tower, 200 feet tall and critical to Russia's fuel production. The drones dropped to just 100 feet altitude, throttles maxed. Like guided bullets, they tore through the night. Operators placed crosshairs on pressure valves, control rooms, and pumping stations. Inside his bunker, Dmitry realized too late what was happening. His radar lit up, proximity alerts screaming. He bypassed protocols and shouted directly on refinery radios, "Air raid! Incoming!" But there was no time left. The first drone slammed into the AVT-11's base. Its shaped charge detonated with surgical precision, sending a molten jet slicing through thick steel. One by one, the other drones hit. Their impacts staggered to amplify shockwaves. Within seconds, the tower ruptured. Superheated crude vaporized, igniting into a fuel-air explosion that tore across the refinery. Shockwaves flattened nearby structures. A firestorm ignited, burning at over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, melting steel supports and cascading into secondary explosions. Aftermath. By sunrise, the scale of devastation was undeniable. Satellite images revealed the AVT-11 distillation tower reduced to twisted steel. Its once massive structure now nothing more than a smoldering crater. But it wasn't just one tower lost. The destruction of the control room and hydrogen unit cascaded into a chain reaction that crippled the entire refinery. Overnight, Russia's fuel production dropped by nearly 176,000 barrels per day, a blow that would echo across the battlefield. The immediate consequences were severe. Russia's supply of high-grade jet fuel plummeted, grounding Su-35 fighters, delaying helicopter missions, installing armored advances that relied on steady fuel convoys. What had been a secure logistical hub became a gaping hole in Russia's war effort. Economically, billions of dollars evaporated in lost production, while militarily, Ukraine had pulled off one of the most cost-effective precision strikes in modern history. The symbolism was just as powerful as the damage. A $14,000 drone swarm had slipped past a $600 million air defense network and destroyed a $1.5 billion refinery, proving that agility and innovation could triumph over size and wealth. The message to Moscow and to the world was unmistakable. No target deep inside Russia was untouchable anymore. This wasn't just an attack, it was a turning point. Ukraine demonstrated that cheap, innovative drone warfare could overwhelm even the most advanced defenses, rewriting the rules of modern conflict. Now the question is, if you were planning Ukraine's next strike, what would you target? The Kerch Bridge, a naval base in Sevastopol, or perhaps Russia's command bunkers in Rostov? Drop your answer in the comments. Let's see where the next mission could unfold.